Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. $10 million.
10 milli, baby.
10 with 6 zeros after it.
That almost doesn't sound like that many when you say 6 zeros.
What?
But I mean,
6 of them, Bradley.
Six zeros. Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of zeros.
How much was that? What's his name? The sort of handsome. Is he Italian football player that was being asked to go and play somewhere like Saudi Arabia for a couple of years for a lot of money? What's his name? Dark-haired guy.
You're not narrowing this down whatsoever.
I don't know.
David Beckham?
No.
I don't know.
No.
A footballer?
Oh, I don't know.
What are you trying to compare us getting 10 million views on YouTube to a footballer getting even more millionaire?
Yeah, when he just goes and plays in some weird team in Saudi Arabia for a couple of years.
I mean, they all do that at the end of their careers, I think. You know, they go to America or they go to China and they get paid God knows how much, which is not, I don't think that's our plan. We're certainly not going to move to China because YouTube's banned, but and probably not Saudi Arabia because you can only drink in the hotels. So,
yeah, these markets they're not ideal for us. They're better for football players than they are for professional drinkers / tubers.
Yeah.
So we basically, what you're saying is we can't move to lucrative, slightly dodgy, ethically dodgy places in the world.
I mean, what I was actually trying to say is, Bradley, it's amazing we hit 10 million views on YouTube, but as
we did,
I should have expected that we'd end up in some deep, dark, very strange hole.
No, man.
And
what an
and here we are.
achievement, though.
Yeah, crazy. I've been
achievement.
watching it tick towards it slowly but surely. Do you want to know another fascinating stat?
Go on.
So we've been going for 9.5 years. That's right. We're coming up to our 10-year birthday. I've given it away. Maybe you didn't hear me. How many of the views do you think came this year?
I mean, I know it because I retweeted it. But do you want me to pretend I don't know?
Yeah, go on then.
Was it, I don't know, like you think like 1 million a year, Johnny, but I know the first few years we were nowhere near 1 million a year. So
such good pretending.
I'm going to guess that it's got to be a couple of milli, I reckon. 2 milli.
I thought you were going to be like, maybe it's 3.2 and sound like a genius. But that's what it was.
3.2 mil in a year. The year's not even over, Johnny.
This year. I know, we still got another month to go. We could hit the big 4.
Mate.
We're not going to.
That.
We're not going to because at the moment we're getting about 200,000 views a month. But we went viral twice this year, which is absolutely insane. So that brought up 1 million in and of itself. And we've got another 2.2. So it's, it is very much an achievement that we achieved this year, if I'm honest. We started the year at 6.8, so we had a lot of work to do. Every year I sit down and I come up with like my targets, financial targets, views targets, subscriber targets, all that kind of stuff. And we've obliterated them. They're a speck in the distance. I can't even see it out of my Brudio window.
Nice. First time ever. First time for everything, Johnny.
No, we usually hit our targets. I don't usually tell you what they are. But I think I put 8 million was our target this year. So I wanted to get 1.2, which would have been our best year ever. Because we got 1.1 last year. But 3.2 mil.
That's a lot of milli.
Yeah, I can't even conceive that number. I'm not a footballer playing in Qatar. Anywho, a little bit of a boast there. Thank you to everybody that's been watching our stuff and supporting what we do. It's been an absolutely insane year for us, and I hope that 2023 is even half as good. Before we dig into the meat of the podcast, we have got an announcement to make, which is that depending on when you're listening to this, but if you're listening to it at 5 p.m, in 3 hours' time, we are going live over on YouTube with our friends The Malt Miller, in which we'll be announcing the winner of our homebrew competition in association with Meantime Malt Miller Charles Fareham. And, I'm dead excited to be going live for the first time since Big Brew Day back in May.
Has it been that long?
It's been that long. Wow. We've only done 3 live shows this year, which is terrible. We need to fix that for next year. And they used to be monthly. I don't really know what happened to us.
It's hard to organise a live show. It's hard to sit there for like 4 hours as well. And some of them have gone on for 4 hours, haven't they? And
the Big Brew Day did, yeah. Usually they're about 2.
Nah, they're more than that. I don't think they've ever had one that's 2. They're always more than that.
No, they're about 2 hours, mate. It may feel like longer.
I don't know about that. I'll have to look back at the time codes on them.
You go ahead. Man. I have been looking back. They are good fun. I'm always researching. I know my stats.
Yeah. I find them less intimidating when I'm sat here in my room on my own talking to you than when we're in the same room together talking.
This is an odd thing. I must intimidate you in some way because you say the same about Friday 5 p.m. when we're in the same room. You don't enjoy them as much. Do you just not want to be with me?
I think what it is I usually think you've got something better to say than me, so I just let you yammer on.
But that's not the case on the phone.
Well, I can't see your face, so I can't tell whether you're gonna start just immediately talking again. So I'll just chip in.
Do I have a face where you look at me and go, "Oh, he's got another bloody thing to say"?
I can tell you're going to come out with something again. So I'm like, right, I'll wait. I'll bide my time. And then sometimes there's too much biding going on, not enough timing.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So I need to have more of a poker face when I'm not talking.
Maybe less of a poker face. Well, when you're not talking, maybe, or maybe just you can start gesturing at me. Maybe you could raise an eyebrow.
Right.
In my direction, and then I could use that as a cue.
A cue for you to talk?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, that's probably going to be visible in the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
But hey, I can style it out. I've got a very good single eyebrow raise actually on me. It's something I'm pretty proud of.
It's all right. It's all right. It's not bad.
What do you mean? It's all right.
I can do it.
It can go a long way.
Too. It's nothing to be.
I've got a lot of forehead for it to move into.
Can you curl your tongue into like a straw?
Of course.
Do that? Oh, you can. Not everyone can do that.
I can wiggle my ears. What other weird things do you want me to do?
I think I can wiggle my ears. Can you wiggle them without your face moving? Is that what you're saying? Or are you moving?
You're gonna have to bear with me 1 second.
I don't think I can wiggle them without moving my face.
I think the very top of my forehead moves as well. But with most people, that would be under the cover of hair.
So it's like you've had Botox or something, and the only thing that can move on your face are your ears and like one line on your forehead.
Yeah, pretty much. I do suddenly look like. Gosh, who could I pick?
So many.
Jennifer Aniston.
So many,
now.
Johnny. I mean, look, man. Have you seen Amanda Holden? I don't know how old is she. She looks great. I don't know how old she is.
I mean, which part of it is the old gag, isn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, how old? Yeah.
I saw she went viral recently for doing very, very weird TikToks that were.
Yeah, I love that.
Kind of strange.
Where she was talking about her weird outfit,
strangely sexy, but
yeah.
Missing.
What do you mean, strange and sexy? Definitely was strange and sexy. Strange and sexy.
Well, I think that's what strangely sexy means.
That was the thing where she had the outfit, right? She was filming outside somewhere.
She had a scarf
or
something.
Walking up to it was the scarf, and she was like, "You can wear it as this, you can wear it as that." It was weird, wasn't it? It was super funny. I loved it.
It's one of those things that you watch where you're not sure whether they're on drugs or whether you are accidentally on drugs, but just something isn't right.
Well, it's definitely some sort of glitch in the Matrix, isn't it? Maybe that's what reality is really like.
Amanda Holden is the glitch in the Matrix. Is that what you're
maybe
what you're saying?
She doesn't. Paul Rudd, the vampire man that doesn't age. I think he has aged slightly recently.
No,
I keep Rudd watch. I'm on Rudd watch, Johnny, and I can tell you, I think he's looking a bit older. Definitely looking a bit older. So there goes that theory.
Age does catch up with us all. I'm assuming it will come for me eventually, but.
What about Tom Cruise, Johnny? He's got a strange plastic face that doesn't seem to age.
I'd kind of assumed that was CGI because every movie he makes now is so heavily CGI'd. I'm not quite sure what's happening and what's been coded.
Did we must have talked about Top Gun Maverick, right? Have you seen that yet? I can't remember.
You said it's great. Maybe. No, I have.
Oh yeah,
I have. Good. After my daughter goes to bed, I have about 90 minutes, which has made feature-length films very hard to fit in.
Yeah. So you're literally on that Netflix setting, which is like 90 minutes or less. There's literally.
I've cancelled my Netflix.
What?
Yeah, I haven't got Netflix anymore.
Wow! Holy shit, man! That puts having a child into perspective. No Netflix.
I think it's the modern equivalent of not having a TV, isn't it? It's like, well, what do you do with your evenings? Yeah. I mean, we use other subscription services at the moment.
Do you want to know what I did with my evening yesterday, Johnny?
Only if it's clean.
Well, it's clean. I went to watch a film called Bones and All with the beautiful Timothée Chalamet.
About they're cannibals, aren't they?
They're fucking cannibals, mate. It is bonkers. It is so weird. Everyone in there, apart from me, was like a teenage girl. There for the beautiful
Timothy
Chalamet.
Is also strangely sexy.
He's like a sort of girly man, isn't he? That's sorry, I don't mean that in any sort
like
of
a David Bowie
way. He's kind of androgynous.
Yeah.
He's got androgyny on his side, hasn't he? And a little sort of glint in his eye.
He does.
But mate, this film
and a toe in his mouth.
Pretty horrific. Well, you're talking about toes in your mouth. It starts about 5 minutes in with a finger in the mouth scene.
A finger,
which
right.
I thought it was going one way, Johnny, and then it went a very, very different, dark way.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you know they were going to be cannibals going in?
No, because I hadn't read the book. I knew it was like a fringes of society. I think the actual blurb for the movie, because I see a lot of movies. I think the blurb, I try not to read too much about them, but I saw it had a very good Rotten Tomatoes critic score, not such a good audience score, but I was like, it's going to be good. It looks beautiful. It's directed by Call Me by My Name person who did that and some other great film as well. So I thought it was going to look beautiful, be really nice. And the sort of like blurb is like a teenage girl on a sort of on a voyage of discovery. She meets a young drifter as they make their ways on the fringes of society. Mate, that is putting it extremely bloody lightly.
There's fringes
of society. Fucking hell. It is full on, dude. And I was looking at... I couldn't see what any of the people were thinking as I was watching it, but when the lights went up and I saw it was loads of girls, I was like, wow, this is a really odd film. I mean, it's kind of like weird... I guess it was kind of romantic, but also incredibly fucked up. So I saw that, and then I drank some Guinness Nitro Surge, which has just launched in the UK as of today, I believe. So it's actually in the UK market now.
Wow,
English. Well, it's in England. You can buy it in England. You couldn't buy it in England before.
Yeah.
But how much do you reckon a 24-pack is, mate? It ain't cheap. We're not even talking with the gadget, just the pack from Guinness.com.
£52.
£70.
Oh my goodness me.
24-pack. So anyway, I had one of those with an Irish friend, and we both agreed it still tasted very good. We didn't buy the £70 pack. I've still got some left from the Lowbrow review. If you haven't watched the Lowbrow, guys, go and check it out. It's quite entertaining.
He's brought it back around. I was waiting for my moment. I wanted to mid cannibal chat be like, in summary, we have a live show in a couple of hours, but I didn't get to do it. We brought it back to beer. Should we talk about what we did this week, which was very beery?
So beery. It's like so beery, Johnny. So hoppy, so beery.
Yeah.
So citrus, so citry.
Indeed,
Amazing.
yeah. So we felt like recently we haven't been doing enough content that was, our bread and butter, which is brewery features. So I spent a couple of days, a couple of weeks ago, researching and looking for breweries that we might want to visit. Tell some stories that we haven't told before, some very different stories to what we usually tell, which is usually go to a industrial estate, find a brand new brewery, and tell their probably quite similar story. Instead, we went to Oakham Brewery.
We sure did, which is
so 1995 they were founded.
1995, yeah, still on the industrial estate, Johnny, but obviously with a much greater legacy. And how many decades is that? It's a lot of decades already. 30.
It's 3 because it's their 30th anniversary next year.
Yeah, next year, right? 30 years. Amazing. There aren't many, modern breweries that can claim to being that old. It's quite incredible, really.
Yeah, I mean, they predate craft by a long time. That absolute explosion of breweries that happened between like 2010 and 2013 was sort of real boom times. And yeah, they were back there. Dark Star didn't exist when they started, which a lot of people consider kind of the start of modern brewing in Britain. Obviously, no Meantime, which is the start of the sort of keg revolution, and no Thornbridge, which is the real start of the craft. Brewing lots of different styles, brewing very heavily American-inspired beers. So yeah, they predated all of that. But of course, the beer that we all know them for, and the beer that really made them famous, didn't happen until 2009, which is Oakham Citra, and that's kind of the story we were telling. We tell the whole story of the brewery from start to finish, but it is mostly about that incredible beer, one of those buy-on-site amazing cask ales that was the very first Citra beer ever made in the UK and still tastes as relevant and forward and modern thinking as ever, due to lots of wonderful processes which we learned about, but I don't think we'll spoil till we release the video.
No, we can't go into those. I mean, there's some special stuff that they do, which we ain't seen anywhere else, and I think they're so intimately connected with Citra at this point that they know how to tease all sorts of things out of it, which maybe other places don't. And it was just amazing to see the whole process throughout the brew. Was incredible. Yeah. So it's going to be a really great video. We've got 2 great characters that sort of tell the story for us, including the person that the first British person that really rubbed Citra and he rushed it over so that he could be the first person to brew with it, and indeed helped Charles Fairham, who started bringing these American hops over, make their first hop selection. So quite an influential person from back then. So it's going to be a really great tale, and we're hoping to tell some more sort of family cask ale brewer stories over the next year or so. There was also talk of us collaborating with Oakham, which I'm saying on the podcast to try and tie them down and make sure it happens, because they're going to be celebrating 30 years next year, and we want a piece of that, especially because it's our 10th anniversary. Mate, I think we should do triple Citra. Right? Triple Citra. Because it's 30 years. 3 times the hops were 3 decades. You want a triple dry hopped Oakham Citra. Have you tried? So they gave us cans of their T90 version of Citra. Have you tried it yet? Nope. I haven't had a chance yet. I had some last night while recording a podcast with Paul Newton of Beer Prime. So that, I think that's out next week, that podcast. I got on my high horse about beer journalism, so apologies for the rant to anybody that does end up listening to it. But I was drinking the Oakham Citra during that. Maybe it was a Citra-fueled rant about the state of beer journalism. And it tastes delicious, but it's not as good as Oakham Citra. It's like the character of the Citra was very different to what they get with their processes and the whole leaf and stuff like that. And much closer in sort of the presentation of Citra to what we get in what everybody else makes, which is, New England or West Coast IPA with Citra. Nice. But it's a very tasty beer. Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we did this week. That video will take a little while to come out. It's quite an ambitious thing. And obviously, we're starting our Christmas content because it is now December. Did you open your first window? Have you got a beer Christmas calendar, a chocolate Christmas calendar, an actually religious one, Bradley? It's sad. It's a sad state in the Brad's household. I haven't got any kind of Christmas calendar. Nothing, Johnny. I'm still waiting for you to send me my my money across. So I've bought my e-bike. So now I'm in a deficit until you send me my funds, Johnny. So I'm hoping that the debt collectors don't come around and break my kneecaps. So I ain't got money. Where did you buy
this bike from that they're sending around debt collectors?
No, I'm only joking. I'm waiting for it to arrive still. But yeah, no, I haven't got a calendar. I was tempted by a lint calendar, which I saw on I believe it's on Black Friday as an offer, or maybe it was after Black Friday, but it arrived, Johnny, mid-January because it was out of stock. So that wouldn't really work, would it, as a calendar? So I thought, well, you know what? I don't think I'll bother with a calendar this year. Yeah, because I love white chocolate when you open it up and it's gone all white and weird when it's not supposed to be.
That's cocoa solids
that's a sign of
or something.
Yeah, it all separates out. Yeah, that's the thing, right? So it's like it shows that it's probably not very good anyway because it's got all this horrible separating oils involved.
Well, I think it's just cocoa butter.
Is that what it is?
I think
cocoa
so.
Butter.
I don't know for
sure. So
what
you're saying is I should be rubbing the cocoa butter on my face and then eating the chocolate. Is that what you're saying?
If you film it, yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, cool. That's a new trick. Yeah, is it though? Because do you remember? I mean, I don't want to take this down a disgusting route, but do you remember when you used to see white dog poos? You don't see that anymore. They used to put mad things in dog food that made the poo white. I think maybe it was either chalk or charcoal. God, hopefully not talcum powder. That stuff is crazy carcinogenic. But they bulked it with either chalk or charcoal, I believe, and it made the poo-poo go white. Thought maybe
this podcast never ceases to amaze me.
Yeah, all these things flying around my head, Johnny, the whole time. It's exhausting.
I think you need to stop consuming talcum powder or whatever it is that's doing that to your brain. Shall we talk about this week's video?
Oh, go on if we have to. We're only 21 and a half minutes in. Go on then.
Right, so this week's video, I can't even remember what it was. All I can think about is dogs eating charcoal now. This week's video was the second in our series about Trappist breweries. So, beer made by the monks within the walls of a monastery and for all good causes or the upkeeping of the life of the monks. And this week we decided to tackle the one and only UK Trappist brewery, which is Tint Mendo is the name of the beer, and that's sort of how people know it, Tint Meadow Brewery. And it's a really unusual beer, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was not like any Trappist beers I've ever had, and it tasted very sort of British old ale kind of vibes, a bit kind of smoky, and it's very interesting, Johnny. Very, very autumnal, and as I said in the video, go great with some cheese and some monks with their bread.
It needs to be drunk in a wood panelled room with cheese and a roaring fire. It just feels like that kind of beer. And actually, a lot of the comments on social and on YouTube were talking about what is. I think it must be, because other people have said the same thing. It must be an oxidative character. That flavour that we got, which is that kind of oaky, tequila-y, sherry kind of thing, is definitely associated with oxidation. And I didn't think it could be because the beer was so fresh. But maybe in the process there is some oxidation happening. Maybe it's on purpose. Maybe it's not. But it's a strong part of that character and what a lot of people picked up on when they first tasted it. So it's a really unusual beer, and lots of people saying age it. And I'm going to age a bottle, but I'm not sure we should, because it's already showing signs of age, even though our one was, I think, about 6 months old when we drank it.
It's the opposite of an Amanda Holden beer, then. It's like a beer that's aged incredibly quickly. Who could that be?
Yeah, nice callback. The opposite of Amanda Holden, that beer.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy any of the comments? Tell me what you read beneath the line.
I did. I quite liked. I'll just see it again, so I'll just say it quickly. But Rob Coleridge, sorry, said, "I'm enjoying Brad gesturing to the second camera when he makes jokes, and then Johnny in the edit refusing to cut to him." And you've replied, "This ain't House of Cards. You only get so many looks to camera," which is fair enough. It's fair enough.
Do you know what? I had to go back and watch a little bit to see how many I'd missed. There are a couple that maybe I should have cut to the other camera if I'm really honest. And I will be watching out for your looks to camera more, because I literally didn't realize you were doing them, because I'm so focused on like the color, the audio, where I'm going to cut it and stuff that I missed. I missed some asides to camera. I apologize.
That's quite all right. The Poteke.
Everybody, keep your usernames as complicated as possible, because part of the joy of doing this is Brad trying to read them.
Verf Poteke. I mean, I don't know how else you would say that. We Belgians had this beer when it came out in our local pub in Antwerp, and we're very pleased that it tasted like an Old English ale /ESB. It's not a Belgian monastery, and so the beer shouldn't taste like a Belgian. Stay with your local. Stay at your own localism. I don't know what that means, but I like it. It gave a new extra taste at Trappist beers overall. They did a great job. I think I agree with that. I think
I'm not sure what you were saying. There was some.
Well, I think they should stay at your localism. Because it's good to drink local, isn't it, Johnny?
It's good to have diversity within the Trappist mode.
Yeah.
I agree.
Big time. I'm not mocking Verf Poteke, by the way, because he can speak much better English than I can Flemish. So,
or French, depending on where he's.
Or French.
Where he's
Yeah.
In Belgium. But yes, I enjoy a great YouTube typo, and I'm as guilty of them if you look at our social media as anybody. But I don't think that you should have to brew exactly what's native. So I do think that other breweries should be totally free to brew Belgian beer. But I think when you're within that Trappist movement, it's very nice that we're getting lots of different styles, and indeed one that kind of, like you said in the video, sort of absorbs something from the locality of it. It's really nice, yeah. Nice.
This other comment from Daniel Taylor. I want to take you on a sort of little trip around the world, Johnny, and just sort of pause for a minute to just think about what if, right?
Okay.
So his comment is, we've only got one Trappist monastery here in New Zealand, Kopua Monastery, and unfortunately they don't brew beer. I pray they will one day. Can you imagine the holy hazy hop bomb they could conjure up with access to all the glorious juicy local New Zealand hops?
It's totally true, yeah. I'm not sure I've ever seen a Trappist brewery use Antipodean hops, so that would be a wonderful addition.
It'd be insane, wouldn't it? I feel like we should probably open up the first New Zealand monastic brewery.
You and me?
And just make haze bombs.
That would require quite the lifestyle change. Actually,
I don't know.
My comment is related to that. It's from Jasper Pollitt. He says, I hereby suggest Brad become the patron saint of bottling, or at least of labelling. Where do we put in our request? So to become a saint, you have to, I guess,
die for something you believe in, like, strongly.
Yeah.
Yes, or like die a horrible death.
Yeah, make some kind of
in
great
a bottling
sacrifice
accident,
and then be voted in by the cardinals, maybe the Pope. Don't know. But we could start that campaign next to our UNESCO one, because that one's coming great guns, as I'm sure you guys can tell by the lack of news. It's so complicated, but we are working on it. So yeah, we need to go over to Italy and whisper in a cardinal's ear, I guess. And then you also need to learn, I guess, how to bottle beer, and then you need to do some great sacrifice, like, I don't know, like save a whole pallet of beer from destruction by performing some kind of miracle.
I like it. What a way to go, probably.
Oh, you're going to die in the act as well?
Oh, I hope not.
You can be the soft landing as a pallet careers like off of a lorry. You'll be like, no, not St. Meadows' new summer blonde ale.
Yeah. I don't know. Mark Notley said, work hard, pray hard. That's good. That was my little joke I came up with.
It is
on the
good.
spot
I reckon
filming.
Next
It's a
Trappist
t-shirt
Monastery
there.
we go into, that's going to be merchandise for them.
Well, we should wear the sort of Wham sort of choose love t-shirts, but it just says work hard, pray hard.
Mm-hmm.
When we go there, they'd be all right with that, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
they'd be cool with that. I reckon they'd be fine with that. It's not mocking, right? It's just
exactly. No,
we could give them some to wear. When they're not praying and stuff. They got it. What do they sleep in? Maybe they sleep in their Hessian.
It's a great question.
robes.
What
I
do
bet
monks
that's
sleep
well
in?
itchy, man. It sounds like a Philip K. Dick book, doesn't it? What do monks sleep in in Electric Dreams?
I feel like probably naked.
I hope not. Nobody wants to see lots of.
Well, I mean, they sleep in their own chambers.
Men.
I don't. Anybody sees it, but it would feel like the Puritan simple way to do it, right? I mean,
know.
Puritan. Sorry, it's a very
Nudity-
bad word to use. They are Catholics, but
Nudity's not very. I feel like it's naughty nudity. I don't think they'd be into it.
Could be.
I reckon they're never nudes. I reckon they've got blue denim hot pants on underneath their robes. Never nude style.
Well,
Tobias.
if we ever do go to one,
Tobias sounds like a monk's name
yeah,
as
it could
well,
be a
doesn't
monk
it?
as
Right?
well. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Tobias Funkier.
Yeah.
Definitely monkey feet.
But let's never ask them if we ever go to a Trappist monastery. I've got another comment which comes from Jay Blacker.
Oh yeah.
He says, an excellent beer. I totally agree with the description of it being a turbocharged ESB. You definitely get that earthy sweetness that comes from the molten British hops, just like in a good bitter. I was fortunate enough to go to the Abbey on a sunny day last summer, and it's definitely worth a visit to look around the grounds and pick up a case of beer. Be warned, though, the monks are masters of the upsell and will do all they can to pick your pockets for charitable causes. So he's been upsold by the upselling monks.
Oh wow. This is like when I went to the hairdressers and I got upsold for the hair wax.
It's nothing
They're
like that.
upselling monks.
But
They're upselling monks, Johnny. Even capitalism can't. They can't escape the draw of capitalist ways, right? Even in their monastic society, they're still bloody trying to gouge.
Yeah.
Gouging, Johnny. You wouldn't think monks are gougers. Gouging. That's not cool.
I mean, I'm fairly certain that this hard upselling was probably just, do you want some more of our delicious beer? Which
I don't know.
I'm not even sure that's upselling. That's just going to a beer geek and saying, hey, do you want more of the thing that you like? So I think Jay Blacker might be he might be blaming someone else for how much beer he came home with. That's how I'm reading it. That's how I'm reading it.
It's a good one. It's a good one to tell your partner, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, the monks made me do it. I had no choice. They told me it was for the greater good.
I mean, unless he came home with 4 beers, but also a bunch of postcards, a key ring, maybe one of those weird. Do you remember those weird little notebooks that you used to get that were on a key ring and a tiny pencil, and they were sold
great.
at all.
They were great, weren't they?
They were the most pointless things.
What do you mean? Remember them? I still rock one of those daily. I'm writing all my notes down in it.
Yeah,
all the things I'm going to talk about on the podcast. Yeah.
Well, you're looking at one right now. You're telling me
white dog peas.
You've got your little plastic wallet out of you. I've seen your keys, Bradley.
Gouging monks. There's a lot of keys, not a lot of tiny
notepads.
Notepads, no.
What about the giant
notepads.
pencils? Do they still make those? You know, the ones that
I don't know, but
a foot long.
All I'm thinking now is hold me closer, tiny notepads. That's all is in my head.
Right, good. Well, I think we'll leave that earworm with you and with the rest of the Friday 5 p.m. listeners as we draw this utterly chaotic podcast to an end. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple of hours on the live show with Malt Miller. If you're listening to this after that live show's happened, you can still go online to our YouTube channel and watch it not live, and you can still watch all the hilarious comments roll in from all the good people that watch it. So yeah, grab yourself a couple of beers, put them in the fridge, and join us at 8 p.m. live on YouTube. I'll put a link in the podcast description, but if you just go to our YouTube page, it will be right there once we're live as well. Next week, we have our first bit of Christmas content, so I'm not going to spoil it, but get very excited about that. And then, of course, our first Christmas podcast will be next week. I mean, in theory, it should have been this week, but I didn't have my bells ready. Strange phrase.
Next time.
So next time I'll have my bells ready and we will be doing Christmas, working hard, praying hard, and belling hard. Bye. Love and beer. Bye. 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 The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/thecraftbeerchannel. And if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.